This is finally a perfected video of using the Electribe as a battery-powered sequencer drum machine for Ableton. The first part of this video is just going to be the quick setup for people returning to this video. You can look here, pause if you want. All right. And then we're just going to get into how I did this. I'll go step by step on how to set it up while giving tidbits on why I did what I did. All right, so the end result will look like this. It's going to be a garbled mess. Hold on. Let's just go here. The end result's going to look something like this. Basically, what you're going to do is record the proper note, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, for each 16th note. And then when you finally want a sequence, you just take out what you don't want and boom, you got yourself a sequencer. It's going so slow right now because this pattern is still set to 25 BPM. Of course, when I pick up the BPM, let's see what that does. It's just gonna look crazy. Let's go 120. And yeah. And it was something like this. All right. Let's go back, exit out of here, and we'll just go here. All right. All right. The first thing on your list will be setting the BPM to 25. So I'll go menu. First one there is going to be 25. Actually, I'll do it with you guys. So let me exit. Let's go to a new one. All right. Menu. Length starts out at, BPM starts out at 120. Let's turn that all the way down to 25. Next, length of 1 and scale chromatic. It'll just go along the line right here till we get length of 1. That's the default. Keep going along. Scale Dorian. We're going to change that to chromatic. Why did I do that? Because if you look, the drum machine goes C, C sharp, D, C sharp, A, has F, F sharp. The default scale, which this is from the Electribe manual that I'll link into the description below, it skips notes. The chromatic setting makes sure that it hits every note. All right. What's next? It'll be turning alternate 13, 14, 15, 16 to off. That's going to be these two pads. By default, this is set to on because if you were using this as like a live performance machine for finger drumming, you'd normally put like an open and closed hi-hat here, a snare, and then maybe the rim of the snare. And if you want to sound as realistic as possible, you can't have an open and a closed hi-hat sound at the same time. So it just prevents any misclicks, if you're going really fast. We're going to turn that to off because that's not what we're doing. And finally, the most important thing, we'll be going to the global parameter and changing the trigger mode to sequential first. I'm going to explain why we need to do that in a second. Global parameter. Ooh, that's not it. Went too far. Here we go. Enter. Default, it's set to normal. Since this is a global parameter, once you set it for one pattern, which is all of these guys, 186, blah, blah, blah. Once you set it for one pattern, it'll be set for the entire Electribe. Yours will be set to normal by default. And what that means is this. So you saw how the drum machine has C, C2, C1, blah, blah, blah. Trigger mode, I'm sure if you've already tried to plug your Electribe in, you'll notice that it always goes to like this one right here. So this one I haven't set up yet. So if I go trigger, if I do these three, like 1, 2, 3, see it's always setting up this one because by default, the C4 note always sounds. What sequential first does, it makes sure that the first note that you record is the one that will be played when you press trigger. So what we're going to do soon is actually find the particular note on the drum rack and actually play that note, record ourselves playing it, so that when we sequence, the sequencer on the Electribe will play that particular note, and when we trigger, the trigger will not look at C4 as the note to play, it'll look at C2 to play or A1 to play. All right. And so now here's the hard part, and I'll probably look into it later on how to upload my finished pattern and put it on Dropbox or something for other people to download. It'll depend on how many people view this video and what their needs are. I don't think this is perfect. I would say this is about 99% of the way. I bet there is a bug or a shortfall of it that I haven't found yet. But just let me know what you think. Let's see. Oh, I'll also go into how the Electribe worked originally. I do have another video uploaded where also by default you'll notice that the pads, this is something that doesn't change even with this setup that I'm going to show you. The pads always show up as a different channel. So one workaround, if you don't want to do this method I'm about to show you, is to actually split up multiple tracks and have them set to channel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Most people don't use all 16 channels anyway, and I'm only on the light version, and at most I'm using maybe 4 for beats or instrumentals. So you can have channel 1, 2, 3, and 4 and just use the Electribe as normal, but just make sure that this one's going to there. And you know, if I had multiples of these, I'll just add 2 more, and then I'll shift click, right? And then you can group tracks, and you can do it this way, you know, up to you. And then channels 1 and 2, 3 and 4 are going to be in here, and then you have other Ableton stuff happening over here, whatever. This is the video for everything happening in one single drum rack. All right, so we're set to BPM 25 here. Let's get to it. All right, we're gonna have, everyone probably has their own preference on how they want their Electribe pads to be set up in respect to the Ableton drum rack. For C2, I want that, for this pad, I want that to be C2. Going down the line will be, for me, these 4. And the second row, these guys, I mean, they can be either these 4 or these 4, up to you. I'm going to make them these 4. And I'm going to show you how to do the first 3, and then you just copy, paste. Don't copy and paste, actually. Just repeat the same procedure for each pad, and you'll end up with what I showed you at the beginning, where you have all of these just going off. All right, let's go to it. Let's get to it. So trigger this one. That's what we want. You can see it's in the wrong spot. So then we're going to go to keyboard, and we're going to just figure out which key is going to be that one. So we're going to go up. This is B1 right here. So going up, like if this was set to Dorian, you would actually, I can just show you. This was set to Dorian. Yeah, skip like 30 seconds if you don't want to see this part. This is set to Dorian, and I went to keyboard, and I just go up 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll see it skip 1, 2, 3, 4. And then if I go back to chromatic, 1, 2, 3, 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Anyway, this is the pad for us. This guy right here. So we're going to go to, this is the key actually, because we're still in this part, key C2 right here. So then we're going to go out of that. We're going to record ourselves. Oh, wait. That's the important part about the 25 BPM. You have to record yourself hitting it 16 times right when the sequencer is on that pad. You can't hold it down. I did that before, where if you hold it down, it'll look Like, I'm going to hold it down. Just give it a second. All right, we're done here. Stop it. Sequencer. It'll look like you did everything right. You can even chop it up. Now this will work, I mean, if you only wanted to use 18th beats, because it's going to go no value, value, no value, value, no value, value. But to the Electribe, and as a MIDI output, this is really just one continuous signal. So you won't be able to do 16 beats, because when you play it, it's really just going to think it's one continuous note. Note that this little one's going off because I do have another pad activated. But if you ignore it right here, because it's playing in the right note, but see how it's playing just one continuous MIDI output? That's because I held it down. So we are not going to do that. We are going to exit. Oh, don't need to do that. We are going to go to trigger. We're going to go to clear sequence, enter, clearing that sequence, trigger. And this is also a good part to put in there. If you do the clear sequence command rather than physically unselecting them, it will default the pad back to C4. But if you just unselected that stuff, unselected these notes, it'll remember it. So when you do finally at the end of this have a full setup with each note, you can just put stuff back. Because right now, I'll just get to that point. Anyway, let me put this back. Keyboard, exit. So at 25 BPM, by default, this one's always going to be going off. So I'm actually going to sequence this to be full 16s. This one I'm just going to use as a reference line. And then you can put your headphones on so that you can actually hear this going off in 16 beats. So it's going, right now I'll just do it visually. So do. All right, so trigger, go back to here. Keyboard's going to be this one. Record 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I'm probably a little out of sync, actually. You can even see it here. I'm out of sync with the original. When you have headphones on and not holding a camera in your other hand, you'll be able to get it almost perfectly onto the true 16. And to some annoyance, but in this case it actually helps out, Electribe will try to quantize your finger pads or your what's it called, your inputs, like what I was doing. It'll try to quantize that to a 16th of the pad. I just must have been so far off it didn't count, or it still was a little desynced. But anyway, go to the next one. Trigger here, keyboard. Which one is it? It's not gonna be that one. It's gonna be this one. I can play. We're gonna play that. So yeah, these guys are going off right now. See, I was a little off. But I'm gonna go to keyboard, record this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Go trigger, move down the line, keyboard, this third one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Trigger, move down the line again. Where is it at? Oh, keyboard. 1, 2, 3. And then you'll just keep doing this till you get 16 of them. Then stop. I'd say stop right there, because when you get to this one, let's say let's go trigger here, keyboard. You're going to want to figure out where it is. So since I've been doing this a couple times, I know that it's right here to get the second row. But yeah, I would say every block of 4, stop. Make sure you're putting it in the right spot. right part, then move down the line, you'll notice that these pads will be right here for their keynotes. These pads will be right here for their keynotes. These will be right here. These will be right here. And just stopping every 4 will make sure you don't mess up. Go down the line, and I'll save that for now just in case I want to come back to it. And you will end up with, where is it? You'll end up with this. Everything going off in pure 16 notes. This video is done. This is how you do it. It's the shortcoming of Electribe that you can't really sequence notes directly. So this is the way to do it, where you actually will just sequence or record yourself playing 16 notes. And Electribe will think that you're making a beat that way. But it turns out you're actually doing that to trigger Ableton. And for example, let's actually pick this one. All these are going off, and as you make a beat, just mute these ones you're not using. And yeah, right now everything's playing. You can put the BPM back up again. Where is that bad boy? BPM. Yeah, get to it. I'm just going to show you an example of me doing it. BPM 120. It's going fast now. Shoot. It's just turned into a normal Electribe that just happens to trigger Ableton. Boom, got that. It's going crazy. It's going crazy. That's it. All right. Have fun.